Well, hi everyone. This is Mark Darling here from Brain Trainer Australasia. Really good to be taking part again in Neurofeedback Week 2022. Today, what I thought I'd do is have a conversation with Afar, a psychologist from Romania, and we're going to be discussing what it's been like to actually do some mentoring in neurofeedback, some training. Perhaps you'd like to just tell us a little bit about yourself and your background?
Yes, I'm a psychologist and a psychotherapist. I'm working for about 20 years with different types of clients, doing therapy, educational therapy also, not just psychotherapy. My background is in cognitive behavioral, existential, and clinical and Ericksonian hypnosis. And in the last 4 years, I think, I'm combining this with neurofeedback.
You say 4 years you've been doing neurofeedback already, and
yeah.
Do you want to talk a little bit about that? Because I know that you were doing some training in ILF and you've been using that infra-low frequency neurofeedback training, and then you've come along and taken part in Brain Trainer as well.
Yeah, I'm also an international trainer for ILF, and this is how I started. I discovered ILF and I started working with it, and then somehow, I can't even remember how, but somehow I found Pete.
Yeah.
And I had a chat with him. He called me right away, like a couple of hours after I sent the request, and he told me everything about Brain Trainer, and I really like the system, so I bought it. I did the training, and here I am, and I have you as a mentor.
You do. So I want to talk a little bit about that, because you've obviously come from using one particular type of neurofeedback system, and then you've selected the Brain Trainer system. What was it about Brain Trainer that drew you in?
I realized that with ILF, it's very good. It's a very simple to be used. It's complicated from the behind the scenes. Let's say it's complicated. As a practitioner, you need to know to be very careful to really listen to the client and observe the signs and everything.
Yeah.
But from the system point of view, it's very simple. So using that, I realized that helped me a lot with calming down the clients and with stabilizing the brain, because it's working at the subcortical level.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, I found that it didn't help much with activating, and it didn't give me the possibility to play a little bit with the frequency, to decide what I want to reward and what I want to inhibit. It's preset. With the other system, it's preset. You just, how can I say, you just decide what is the best frequency for the client.
Yes.
In ILF, it's not, I don't decide, for example, I want to reward alpha and inhibit beta, or I don't know what. You can't do this. So, and also not in specific areas, not like you can do with Brain Trainer. With Brain Trainer, it's a wider range of possibilities. You can do many things with it, and this is something that I like. And I also discovered Coherence, which is great for autism, and I do have many patients with autism, so yeah, that's why. And talking to Pete, for me, it was great, because he took the time to actually explain everything to me, the whole system and all programs, how they work, all protocols. So, and then I did the free classes, and after that I bought the system because I was convinced the possibility of doing brain mapping.
Yes. Okay. So you're talking there about there's more flexibility. within the system to do a range of things. I hear they're talking about the coherence. So for people who might not be aware, we're talking about communication between different brain regions. And you're right, with some groups, particularly the autistic spectrum, there's been some great research published in the last 10 to 15 years or more, looking at those sort of situations in the autistic population. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's definitely a great system to use for that. Particularly, like you obviously talk about your experience of doing some introductory training. I assume you're talking about those introductory videos that are on the website, the free ones.
Yeah, the free ones. Yeah, and then after I bought the system, I could do the other ones. They were in a package.
Yeah.
I also would like to mention HEG because that is one of my favorites.
Yes.
And as you know, I use it lately with a client with learning disabilities, severe ones, and she just, after 3 sessions, you could see the progress, and I know this girl years.
Yes.
So it was obvious to me. It was obvious that it was based on HEG training. I'm sure, because nothing else was different.
Okay, that's great. So some training of, again, we're talking about prefrontal cortex, increasing blood flow in that region, and that was really helpful for learning difficulties. Any other populations you're finding it helpful for?
I'm using it with the ADHD children also, and I use it with myself because I do everything on me first. I'm the number one cowboy in the situation, but especially in I've noticed this, especially in ADHD and in learning disabilities. For me, it was the most spectacular change.
Okay.
From what? Yeah, with autistic children, didn't use it. I used it with a client with depression, with severe depression. It was combined. I used the whole protocol, so I can't say that it was. She's very well right now, but I can't say that it was specifically thanks to HEG because, as I said, I used it the whole.
Yeah. Okay. Good. So you've enjoyed that side of it with the HEG. So I guess in describing the process, you've had a discussion with Pete Van Dusen, the founder of Brain Trainer International. There's those free introductory videos for anyone to watch that are on the website, and then of course we put together packages that include the neurofeedback, the EEG training, the HEG, and also, as you mentioned, that extra training, the foundations course. So I guess by the time you've purchased online and you've downloaded the software and you've got yourself set up and you've watched the training videos, I guess it's about that point that you get to select a mentor. Or was that early in the process?
I can't remember. I
think there's an offer with the initial email it sent out, actually.
Yeah, exactly 6 hours, I think, maybe
4 hours.
For 4 hours. Yeah, and I just looked through everybody, and I don't know. I chose you from 2 reasons. One, you were your background. You're also a psychologist, and I'm always interested, as you know, in our sessions we always talk about also the therapeutic point of view. So I'm also interested in working with someone who is combining the methods, is not doing just neurofeedback and client to a therapist. So this was the main criteria, and The second one was your name because it's darling, and I really like.
Okay, I don't think that's much to base a decision on, but anyway. Well, look, I think it's always good if you can find someone you connect with, and that's, I guess, one of the benefits on the website of being able to select someone to mentor you with when it's got a little bit of our background information. So that's good. I guess what I'm really interested in talking about as well is how was that process for you, particularly doing the training, having watched the videos and then moving on to mentoring online with myself. I think you get the 4 sessions of mentoring, you get the provision of your first training plan as well. So describe that process for me, what it was like to have to record a brain map, which you hadn't done before, and to be able to send that through, and then the mentoring process afterwards.
Well, I have to say it was a bit scary at first because it was a lot of information, and I felt like, especially after getting used to a certain system, which is completely different from this one,
Yep.
Everything was a little bit upside down to me, but then it was okay because we started step by step working through the brain mapping, through the plan, and through every single graphs, and you explain it to me, and it was fine. It's a bit, at first it can be a little bit scary when you're looking at all those numbers and okay, what do I do with them? But then yeah, you get used to it. I still have some questions. Exactly, but it's okay. And I also like the fact that I can always come to you with with case, a certain client, a certain situation that I have, and we can work on that. So yeah.
You mentioned the numbers, which is an interesting thing because there's so much data there, and if you've like the system you've come from that you mentioned, and it was the training I came from too earlier on, where we weren't really looking very much at what the brain was doing. So to suddenly have, and in saying that, the system, it was still a reasonable system. It centered around having to have, I guess, a particular knowledge of how the brain functioned, basing training protocols on that. Kind of like a best bet scenario, really. But to have to suddenly see all this data presented mathematically, I understand what you're saying. It can feel overwhelming, and that's why I think it's good to have someone to support you in the process to go, yeah, a lot of these numbers are like, they all can be helpful, but because they can be overwhelming, there are particular things we should focus on first. We're looking at particular qualities and characteristics of what the brain is doing. I think, and particularly, I think one of the processes that is helpful is that the system, the TQ7 and soon the new TQ8, they developed a training plan. They automated, actually. How did you find that process?
It's a great starting point. I also now, because I have a little bit of experience in brain trainer and also combining it with therapy and with ILF, I can also adjust it and decide what I'm doing. And but I think it's great. I think it's absolutely great to have that training plan ready, and just okay, this is it, just do it. Even if you don't do anything else, if you just follow the training plan, it's great.
Yeah.
I mean, even if you don't change anything, you don't look at anything else, you don't do therapy, you nothing, even if you do just that, and it's absolutely great. So what I would like to do, as you know, I already convinced some of my colleagues to buy the system and to start working with it.
Yeah.
And actually, tomorrow I will have another meeting with another colleague. to talk to him about brain trainer. What I would like to see more in Romania is, especially here, because I'm talking about Romania, I'm talking about my colleagues here. I would like to see more people using the neurofeedback in their practice, because it is very helpful and it made a lot of difference. I mean, after I've worked so many years with clients just doing talk therapy, you know, regular therapy, now I realize the impact. And also in situations like epilepsy or ADHD, where you don't have many solutions. You don't have many solutions. Also with depression, okay, yeah, most people take pills at the end of the day for depression, because it's hard to live with it. It's easier with anxiety than with depression, from what I saw. So yeah, I think this is what I like to do. I also talked to Pete about this, about developing a community here in Romania, and this part of Europe also, because I know that there are not many practitioners here in Romania and the countries around it. So this is my professional plan, let's say. I've also looked at some other systems, and I found Brain Trainer the best from many point of view. First, it had everything. It had not just the mapping, but also the plan, the automatic plan, and also the wide variety of protocols that you can do, and also the price. I mean, I need to say this, because other systems are really expensive, and they do the same or less. And I really liked when when I talk to Pete, I'm very emotional, and some things click for me, you know, when you're saying some things. And when he said that, you know, Aida, we're trying to keep the price as low as possible, so that you guys can have access to it. I mean, as many people as possible to have access to it.
Yeah.
For me, it was great, because I understood it wasn't a business. It wasn't like, oh, all we want is your money, and then, you know, whatever you think about it. Some other systems, I have to say, they do this. They just sell you the system. They offer you a basic train, and then kind of, you know, they kind of leave you in the dark. I mean, people also matter to me. It's not just the system, it's also about people. And I really, really like Pete. I think he's a great, great person. And I really liked you. So this mattered to me. It's important. Oh, and also the support, the technical support, and not just technical, on Telegram and on email. I mean, it's amazing. It's amazing how much I've learned just because I follow the comments, you know, or the questions in the Telegram group.
Anyway, great to talk to you today. I'll catch you again soon. Bye.
Okay.